You both are from Loyola. Did y'all meet each other there? Is that where this connection happens, or was it after college?
We actually met, in college at Loyola Marymount University. I'm a grade younger than Eilise, so when she had her senior thesis, I was cast in her play that she did called Alex from Baby Gap, and that's kind of how we got close. I mean, it's like a small medium school, so we kind of all knew of each other, and we were new, but that's how we got close, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's in the LA area. It was sort of just outside it, right?
Yeah, it's in LA. It's in like Playa Vista, kind of right there. Yeah.
It's Loyola Marymount University, right by the airport, actually.
Yeah.
So as far as sensibility of comedy, did y'all just click? I mean, what is it about you two that fits? Because Cora and Sam are hilarious together, even though when they fight, it's still even funny and lovable. Except for that.
Yeah, I think going back to even college working together, I wasn't in the play, so that was my first time directing, and so I just working with Jade has such like a great comedic presence already, and then I think just trying to kind of hone in on that when we were just in college and learning together and everything, we kind of developed a good rapport where we can be honest with each other and try different things together and all that. So, and then in this, it's just so easy to, I mean, we live together, we work together, we are very close in general, so these characters are very close to home, and so I think when you like the people you work with, and like both of us have a good comedic sensibility, I think it's easy.
Yeah, I think also we trust each other, and so we trust each other to take risks and try things on set, which was very fun, I think, with Cora and Sam, and improv things and work with different takes. And I think that's why Cora and Sam was very fun to do, because it had a lot of us in it, and we felt comfortable on set, which I think is important.
As far as idea-wise, did it start always as going to the dentist? Was it any other form? I mean, I'm guessing Cora and Sam, you came up with the idea as imaginations of y'all in a kind of diluted world or a different world, but was it always a story about going to the dentist and the horrors of that?
Well, yeah, Cora and Sam hate the dentist. The Cora and Sam part came like a little later. I was working at my mom's dental practice during the pandemic because her front office woman had to leave on medical leave. And so I was like, okay, my mom was like, you need to help me. I don't have time to find someone or train someone. Can you come? And so I had my other day job that's remote. And so I was kind of doing both jobs and running the front desk. And in a way that got me really close to my mom, but also I got to experience a lot of funny conversations with adults, with children, all ages, doesn't matter what gender you were having issues with either being, I had a woman that came in like terrified of the dentist, and she takes a Xanax like before she comes, and she's like, how you doing? Yeah, no, I'm good. How are you? And like freaking out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is actually a fear, like a fear people have, and like, or people coming in with a Groupon and not have gone to the dentist in like 7 years. And so no wonder they come back and they're like shocked when they have like cavities or things that they have to get done. And then they're like, I actually just came in here for a cleaning. I don't want to spend any more money. And you're like, okay, well, your teeth are rotting, so that's good. I had a guy that came in with he held his tooth in his hand, and he's like, I don't know if you guys could just shove that back in there, but like, I'm like, no, you need a root canal. Like, we need to do, there's skin, bone. There's a lot going on there. So anyway, those stories kind of were just like, I was like, I want to do something here. It'd be so fun. And I knew my mom was selling her practice soon, Eilise is one of the funniest people I've ever met, and an amazing, talented comedic writer as well. And so I was like, Eilise, let's do this. Are you down? Like, would you want to write this for me? And then she came up with like Cora and Sam. Like, originally we were maybe going to be the dentist, and they were like, no, we should be younger. Yeah, we were like, maybe we should be the funny like dentist running this office, like duos. But then she was like, no, I think we should just play. It's more funny for us to be uncomfortable going to the people experiencing the uncomfort of going to the dentist. And then yeah, and then she just started writing on it, and then it kind of turned more into like a short film, and then now we're envisioning it as a limited series. So
very cool. Where did you find that dentist office? Is that?
It's my mom's dental practice. Yeah.
So was that kind of fun to be back in that environment? I mean, a whole different.
Yeah, I mean, especially because it was the last weekend she was going to have the dental practice. She was selling the business. She owns the building still, but it was a very cool hurrah to be like, all right, like, and they were painting it the next day. So it was the last day.
They rushed out.
Literally, they were like, you're not going to be able to do pickups. Like, you're not going to be able to do pickup shots. Like, you better get everything you need because we're repainting the entire thing and changing it.
Wow. Okay. So let's go with that, because there is quite a lot of dialogue, especially between you and the receptionist. Is that all just a few takes? I mean, that's some crisp back and forth. I mean, and you were shooting both sides, both angles. I'm curious, is that all done in a day?
Yeah, I mean, we shot a total of 3 days, and it was quick. I mean, honestly, I think that we have like a great, easy dynamic, and I think we work really well together. So if we didn't laugh, we could get a good take usually. Plus we could have fun with, like, it's not like I was like, that word wasn't correct in the script. Like, we were having fun with the script. We were improvising a little bit, but I think that, I mean, we got Harry, the DP, he was like, okay, guys, let's reel it in, because we just like did not have a ton of time. But I think we knocked our stuff out pretty succinctly, because we wanted to make sure that we had time for the like actors coming in to feel like they had room to have a few takes and warm up and everything, because we can usually pick right up and do our scenes together. But it was quick. We were kind of under the wire for sure.
Yeah, I remember the first 5 minutes of the short is actually at our apartment right now. And that was harder. I hadn't moved in yet, so I hadn't seen what the lighting is or what the look was. So that was a harder one to shoot, just because the first day is always the dental office. We had 3 days to be in there, and we were able to walk through it and do like a rehearsal beforehand with the DP. So we kind of could plan lighting a little bit, but at the apartment, we kind of didn't really get to do like a run through as much, because we kind of knew the lighting, but more from photos. So it took a little longer to set up. But dialogue, we stuck pretty close to the dialogue in that scene. So I think that was easier. It wasn't as much like improv and takes.
With the scenes with the dentist, I think some of the great scenes, the laughing gas moment was absolutely hilarious. Your reaction when you find out you have cavities, are like, whoa.
You don't genetically get cavities.
You're like, whoa, hold on
It's
there.
not possible. It's like humanly possible. How much fun were those scenes? I feel like so many people can relate to that moment, being in that chair, being vulnerable and hearing stuff you may not want to hear. It's really, that one hit home. I think everyone can universally understand, like you're talking about earlier, the things that people have to do to go to the dentist can be scary. It's not like a doctor's, you're not sure what's going on because you don't get to know your mouth as well as these people do. How much fun was those scenes? I love those moments.
I mean, you can talk more on this. I mean, her scene with Joe, who plays the dentist. I knew Joe from, I did background in college, or my senior year of college, on Top Gun, and and it took 4 years or 3 years for that to come out. And I met him there, and because we were there for like a week, being in all the bar scenes, and he does a bunch of short films. He's actually a stunt performer too, and so he was very game and fun and wanted to learn. Like, my mom came for one of the days to teach him like the dental terms, or how to use instruments, how to point at things, what he's actually saying and what it means. And he is such a great like team player, and he was super excited to just be there and really hone in on the role of actually being so true. He actually seemed like a dentist, like such a good job. So that scene that you guys do with the floss and the white floss, and I need to call my mom, and that scene just kills me, because it was just so honest with like actual dialogues that I had overheard of like people coming in and trying to tell their dentist that you would never do that to like probably a surgeon, but a lot of times like my mom would experience people being like, no, I don't really think I do have cavity. No, I don't know. I think I'm gonna check somewhere else. Like, I don't know. It's just funny to hear, and that scene was very fun for me to watch. And there would be moments where I'd be like having to cover my mouth from laughing. But yeah, how was it for you?
I mean, yeah, those scenes were so fun to do kind of off on our own, especially because a lot of everything we had done together. So those scenes we were like watching each other, and you know, Jade and I have so much fun together, and then like separating it and almost like directing each other when we're so close is like kind of fun and funny. We'd be like, maybe you should try this or whatever, and like maybe try this. But yeah, those scenes were fun, especially because I mean, the amount of times I've had to call my mom and be like, they're telling me it's gonna be $1,000, and she's like, get out of there, and I'm like, okay. My mom says I have to go, when I'm like, it does cost $1,000. Like, that is, my mom's always like, they're scamming you. Like,
you were like dealing with your wisdom teeth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I had like a whole thing there, and I went to like the scariest. When your dentist office is like next to like a sports clip and like a Subway and a strip mall, it's like not a good situation, right? So I had kind of just been dealing with that too, so it was really fun. And I mean, outside of the dentist too, like when we do want to make this into a series, I think it's just like those uncomfortable moments in general of, even if it's not, you know, even if you are someone who has always had, you know, dental insurance and you have no problem with the dentist, it's like there's something else where where you're going to feel uncomfortable in your 20s or even, you know, 30s, 40s, whatever it is. Those scenes were like the most fun, I think.
Yeah, they were great.
What did it mean to be accepted into Bentonville, knowing what Gina and Wendy, their goals, their aspirations for diversity, for really changing the way people look at who is making films and who is seeing those films being made? What does that mean to be a part of that? They pick these films for a reason, and even, you know, comedic ones have a resonance. I mean, knowing that you two have written this, have done this. This is a woman-run project. Your mom has the dentist office. There's something special with that.
I think because of also how we tried to set up our team for this too. Like, we had a mostly women-run team, a really diverse-looking team. We had a great buildup of people from all different backgrounds. That was really important to us. So then to have created something we were proud of that initially was just like a fun idea, and then to be accepted into something that is so well known and so like the kind of people that see your films, and knowing how much time they do take to watch all the films. I had heard that this was one of those festivals where there's some where maybe not everyone watches all the films, and I had heard that, you know, Wendy and Gina really take the time to make sure that what's in the festival is something that they're really proud of. I think we were so excited about this film festival specifically.
Yeah, there's so many, if you're a filmmaker and you've submitted films on Film Freeway, there's so many film festivals, and it's really hard to know, is this not worth it? But like, I mean, we spent a lot of money to be here. Like, we're Ubering back and forth. We're here.
We're not rich.
Believe it or not, we actually can't afford it. I don't know why we're here, to be honest. My car just got towed, so that's fun. But it's like this, we were recommended from our first like world premiere film festival to submit here, because I think, you know, these filmmakers that we met were like, I think this would really be great for this kind of festival, because you guys are not saying that there are more, you know, comedic actresses and writers and directors, you know, coming up, but I'm not seeing a ton of like comedy
in the festival
like this festival alone. So to be here is, at first we were like, wow, a lot of these films are very like deep and more like not dark, but more like intimidating with like, and we're like, oh, should we not be in this category? Like, and you know, Sativa even was like, no, you're here for a reason. Like, we chose your film, we're excited about it. And it also felt like they were excited when you're a filmmaker, when you're getting accepted these different festivals, you're choosing which ones you want to go to, and you want to make the effort to be there in person. And they seemed really excited about us and our film, and that felt really great, because we're excited about it, and we want more people to see it, and to make people laugh is like the best feeling in the world, and to feel like people relate and can connect with you with laughter is amazing. So yeah, we're really excited, and we hope that this isn't the last time we're here.
You got to do one about your car being towed in a future episode.
Dude,
Trust me, I got ideas.
We live in a gridlock zone, which if you are not familiar with that, it's really scary. You not only get towed, but then you also get a $200 ticket on top of that. So
They wait until 3 p.m. It's like
they wait out there to tow your car, and then you get a $200 ticket later, but then they don't notify you, and so then it went up, and so then it's like an $800.
It becomes like an infomercial.
I start crying. I'm like, there's a.
Remember, tears to camera. Tears to camera.
The thing about towing is
We need to stop it.
How is your dynamic as writing? I mean, do y'all separate yourselves when you're writing? Do you need that communication and then you write? Like, how do you sculpt this comedic style? I mean, compared to like your TikTok work, which has its own set of, I think, parameters in the way you handle it. I mean, it's really, I mean, your facial expressions alone sell so much. How do you put that on paper?
I think so. Jade and I are the co-creators of the project together, and I think it was a totally collaborative process. And Jade came to me with this like amazing idea, and together we just create on the fly when we are, acting together, which is huge. I think as far as like my writing process in like sitting down and putting pen to paper, was, I mean, some people like to create the characters first, I feel like the characters were already so clear and the two of us kind of playing ourselves. Now expanding it into a series, become more about like, okay, who are these guys actually? It's not just us. We're not, I'm probably not as aggressive and bold as Cora's character, and Jade isn't as flighty and like a little, as Sam, who just kind of goes with everything. And so that's come a little bit more in developing the series. I think the writing for this was pretty simple because it was once like you get into a flow, I try to make things not too complicated because I think a lot of times, some ideas were thrown out, like maybe we could have them going there for this purpose or this purpose or this, but it's like, let's just dumb it down. It's them going to the dentist, and that's all it is because there's so much humor in that. So, I mean, I'm very much like format first. I'm kind of trying to figure out the flow of where do we want to see these guys? What's the buildup? Then once they get there, how much time? I just wanted it to be a succinct, like fun, quick flow. And then what's the punch? It's that they finally feel like adults and they feel so accomplished and they're like so excited, and then the like price tag is slapped down, and that's kind of like, because it's like, how do we get out of it to not just make it a scene, that you would see in like a reel? It's like, how do you make it it wasn't the episodics because we do see it as like a pilot. It's not exactly a short film, but how do you kind of tie a bow on this like short mini-series pilot?
Yeah, because we didn't want it to be super long, because originally we didn't know how we were going to go with it. And it's interesting because you're kind of thrown into these characters, into this situation that you don't have any backstory on them, and you just see them going to the dentist. And yeah, I do think it is very funny too, because I do think in many aspects of your life you feel like you're killing it, and then something happens and you're like, oh, well, we're going to brought back to zero on that. And so yeah, I think Eilise is great. And it's so awesome to also work with a writer that is, when you're on set, is like understanding with like, because Sophia, who plays the front desk woman, is like, when she came on set, like that heightened that character like crazy. And so it was so fun to like work with like the writer, but also not being super strict to the page, allowing us to, create together and maybe add certain things and bring characters to life is very exciting.
As far as reactions from people who've seen it, has that, oh, they got that joke, oh, I didn't expect that type of laugh there, how has that impacted your thought on your writing, on your humor, the reactions that you've gotten so far from it? Because I was laughing throughout, and there were different moments that hit me, but I'm curious, does it sound, when you're watching it with an audience, does it sound exactly how you're hoping the laughs will go, or are you surprised at times?
Okay, you need to answer this. My one thing I want to say though is there's a line in there called, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but perio charting, perio charting is something that happens probably every time you get a cleaning. It's basically seeing like the pockets in your gums to see like how deep it goes, and if it goes lower than I think 6 millimeter or some there's like numbers, like you'll see the scene where it goes 3, 2, 3, 6. So perio charting is to see like how deep your pockets are, because that means there's bacteria in there if it's really deep, and then you have to anyway. So that line when she adds, she goes, okay, so we'll need, and that dialogue is actually with the front desk, like with Siobhan saying like, all right, okay, well, you'll need 1 to 7 years. Okay, so you'll need perio charting. And she goes, who is perio? Like as if that's a human. And most people don't pick that up, but I don't know why. I think because we knew what perio charting was, and then her asking, who's perio? Like as if it was a human. I just remember that line literally deceasing me.
So we could not get through that because initially it was what is perio?
What is perio?
Whatever, and then
you said who is perio?
Could we make it who is perio? And then I don't know, but that made us laugh a lot.
So that's something that not a lot of people laugh at, because if you don't know what perio charting, it doesn't
quickly.
It goes quickly, but yeah, that's something that I would say that I was expecting. I really laughed a lot, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that other people related to, but that was fun that most people did.
Yeah, that one I'm always like, huh? And then people breeze past it. I'm like, okay.
Nope.
But I don't know. I think a lot of our dialogue in even the opening scene is a lot. Because we only have that quick moment at the top, I wanted to have everyone kind of see who these characters were quickly. They're both lying to each other to get out of the dentist. They're both lying, and then they call each other out and whatever. So that stuff always, I really think that there's a lot of things that I was really proud of that I didn't even think were the funniest bits.
Yeah,
and then when we had even I guess a lot of the bits where they start to catch on that the other is lying. I felt like we did kind of a little premiere with some of our friends, a backyard premiere before festival stuff started rolling, and having people laugh at a few of those moments where people started to catch on. And then people laugh a lot at just the intro with the rap song of us going to the dentist.
Oh, the slow-mo? Yeah.
Yeah, and Jade has this bit where in the laughing gas where he's like, well, you're going to get lidocaine, and she cuts him off, and she's like, yeah, laughing gas. And then when he says no, as he says no, she's like, yeah. And he's like, no. And she's trying to get laughing gas so bad. That one, I feel like gets a big laugh. I don't know. It's cool to see what doesn't. And then you go to, even if at certain festivals or whatever, if I remember at the premiere, certain things getting laughs and then other things not. And you're kind of like, okay. And it's cool to see what kind of catches on.
It is really weird because I remember yeah, exactly what you're saying. Thanksgiving, I think I showed my extended family just at home, we put it up, or maybe it was Christmas. I think it might have been Christmas. And my cousins were dying at me. One of my favorite parts was when you go up to talk to the Siobhan, and I do my finger. I'm like, hey, Siobhan, and I'm doing things with my hands, and that's just I think part of me in that. But it's funny that certain things that you don't think is funny, other people. I think that's why comedy is so kind of subjective. Also, is you never know exactly. It makes me laugh, but I don't know if it makes other people laugh. And I think that's why this has been so rewarding, is to do our private screening and actually have people laugh and think this is funny, that we're like, well, we think it's funny, and then I don't know, it's reassurance that okay, well, we should definitely submit this to festivals because other people might think it's funny.
So what are the next steps for this? Can you share any other festival stops along the line? And also, how much have you dived into the next potential episodes? Are you waiting to see potentially what this reaction can get for the show?
Do you want to?
Or what's down the line, if you guys have something else you want to share.
Yeah. Well, our next festival is our LA premiere is the LA International, or the LA Shorts International Film Festival, or LA somewhere. It's they just
some of those words around.
LA International Shorts
LA.
Festival.
International. Yeah.
They all sound very similar to be honest. But yeah, that's the next one we have.
And then I think we have then Salute Your Shorts is after. But yeah, we're expanding the series right now, pitching in the next few months. It's interesting, like I just kind of have gotten into the real pitching world of series in the past few years with a few other projects I've worked on. And so now it's good to make those connections. Then we bring this, and even some of the people that I've pitched an old series to, when I tell them about Cora and Sam, we would be pitching it as a mini series called just Cora and Sam. And it's if you've seen like any quick series on Adult Swim or 13 Minute, it would be, you know, Cora and Sam go to an estate sale and they don't understand that someone has recently passed, and they're like negotiating with like a grieving family. And then, you know, Cora and Sam do their taxes for the first time and get $1,200 back and think that they're rich. So they like go to a financial advisor and they think that they need to like invest and whatever. And if you just day in the life, you know, maybe Cora gets her car towed, you know, whatever. Yeah. But we basically have the series outlined already for that.
Yeah, we have a Bible and like a treatment.
And that kind of is like, but as far as the longer episodes that we have fleshed out are just really the pilot, then our last episode of that series, characters, that kind of stuff. And so we just are using that as like a pitching point with the project, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're excited.
Well, keep going, because it's really funny. I love these characters. It was a pleasure to chat with you, ladies.
Thank you so much. This was so nice.
It's been great.
Yeah, like, don't stop. I want to see more of Cora and Sam. And yes, tow her car, for God's sake.
Yeah, let's tow.
It's so sad.
It's actually, I hate when my car gets towed. It's so scary. It feels like someone robbed you. You're like,
because it's just like money you're just like, okay, here goes $500.
I got my car towed on my birthday, so that was. I've got my car towed a lot. It was a smart car, so it's also like, why? It's so small. Like, why?
You guys really want that?
I was like, you could like tip it over. You could have just pushed it over.
Yeah, just shove it down the street a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. He's like, we're done. He's like, why do you guys?
I'm just more in shock. Like you've had multiple towing experiences.
You're like, why can't you read the signs? That's what my parents are like. Elise, it's the same signs.
You think you would have learned?
We're too frazzled and stressed out. Like, I'll be like, I'm gonna leave my car for 2 seconds. I'll be back. I'll set alarms. No, we're an absolute mess.
That's how I want to end it, right there.
We're an
absolute dumpster fire.